Good morning. So today I'm going to talk about how to deploy an application using Render, uh, MongoDB, and your GitHub account. So in this video, you will learn how to use your GitHub account to deploy your web service to a free render server. And then you can also deploy your MongoDB to MongoDB Atlas. So it will all be free and you don't need to use any credit card. So um, this will help you to deploy your application on the cloud. So let's do it. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So for this tutorial, we will need the following information. We will need the render account, and we will need a MongoDB Atlas account, and then we will also need your GitHub account available. Okay, so the first step you need to do is you need to um, uh, have your GitHub repository ready for deploying to the cloud. So if I go to github.com/kerwinta/restaurant. So in here, you will see that I've already prepared the web service that I will be deploying to render. So in your case, if you have a Node or Express.js backend, you can go ahead and upload it to Git. And then once you have it in Git, you can deploy it to render easily. Okay, so let's talk about how to create your own web service in render. So go ahead and go to render. So render.com. And you will see this is the fastest way to host all your APIs. So let's get started. So you sign in with your GitHub account. Okay, so click on GitHub account. And once you click it, you will be asked to sign in with your email, username, and your password in GitHub. Then once you've signed in, it will automatically create your account in Render. So this is what will happen when you sign in. So you will see the Render dashboard, and you will see this, the list of the services that you can create with Render. So at this point, this is just a free account. So you don't need to pay anything. Okay. So what you need to do right now is you want to create a web service. Okay. So this web service will be an endpoint that you can use for your Git repository. So let's click new web service, and then let's connect to an existing repository. So I have this one. Okay. And then I will connect it. Okay. And then it will say you're deploying a web service for Kerwin/restaurant. Okay. So let's create a unique name for this one. Let's say it's a restaurant. We have a restaurant application, for example. Let's choose the region nearest to you, which is probably if you're from Asia. I'm from Asia. I use Singapore. If you have the branch, if you have different branches, but for me, I just have a single branch, is the main branch. And then the root directory, you can leave it blank. If you don't have a different root directory. And I will use Node for the runtime because this application is a Node application. And the build command is yarn. And the start command is node index.js. So since I'm using app.js, I'm going to use node-app.js. Okay, we're going to use the free instance type. So it's going to be a very small instance. This is not for production level. This is for testing. Okay, and then yeah, just click on create web service and you're already good. Okay, so now you will see that Render is starting to get your GitHub repository details. It's trying to download the Git repository, and it's going to install those files into and create a web service for you. So if you can see, it's resolving packages. Okay. Okay, it's going to build. Let's watch it. Okay. Uploading build now. So you just wait for a few more seconds. This is going to be less than a minute, I would think. for around a minute or two at max. Okay, build successful, deploying now. Okay. Let's watch. Few more seconds. Let's see if this will be successful. Okay. So you can see that there's an error. What's the error? Cannot read property starts with of undefined. This is because I haven't defined the connection with the MongoDB. Okay, so the next step we'll do is we're going to create the MongoDB account. So go ahead and go to MongoDB/register. Let's go to the MongoDB URL for registration. Okay. So if you go to this website, you will have a page where you can register. Just you don't need to fill this up. You can just directly sign up with Google. And you can sign up with Google with your own Google account. So once you sign up with Google, you will be directed to a screen where you'll be asked to accept privacy policy in terms of service. So just submit that one. And then once you submit it, you'll be creating an account with MongoDB Atlas. Okay, so yeah, now I have a MongoDB account. Okay. Welcome. It's going to redirect me now to my dashboard. Okay, so just a few things to answer. You know, it can be anything. For me, I just want to maybe learn MongoDB or build a new application. Let's try build a new application. What type of application am I building? Maybe it's just I'm just exploring, or you can create your own. What is your preferred language? Since my node backend is using JavaScript, I'm going to click JavaScript. Finish. Okay. Okay. Now it's time to deploy my database. Okay. I'm going to choose something that's, free for now. So I'm going to get M0 free. It's a small instance. It has small storage only. So it's not really for large accounts. You can't use it for production, but it's for testing and for demos only. So let's try to get the free account, and let's use AWS as the provider. And of course, let's also get somewhere nearby. Let's try if there's any Asia here. Let's get Singapore. Okay. And then, just leave the name cluster as you want, or I'm leaving it default. Okay. Then create. Ooh, love this. Okay. Verify. Okay. So now it's starting to create my instance. Now I just need to put in some information like the username and password. So for now, let's get this username, password. I'm going to copy this. Just make sure you copy this password and keep it safe, wherever you need it. And then where would you like to connect from? So we're going to connect from the cloud environment because our node server will be on the cloud. Okay, so let's configure this. So we need to enable access from specific IP addresses. Okay, we need to know which IP addresses our render server is using so that the MongoDB will allow only access from that render service. So to find that one, let me just save this one. Okay. This is the password for the MongoDB. Let's see. So I need the IP address for the render service. So I go back to render. I go here, and then I will look at connect. Look at connect, and then click on outbound. So here you will see the list of IP addresses that can come from render. So I'm going to copy this one, and then I'm going back to the MongoDB Cloud Service. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to copy the first one. Then I'm going to add the second one. And then I'm going to add the third one. Okay. Okay, so now this is saying that this MongoDB will now accept connections from that render server. Okay. Okay. I think we're good. Anything else? I need to create the user. Okay, just to make sure that the user the account is created. Okay. So I think I'm good. Finish and close. Congratulations on setting up. Let's not hide it so we can go back to it later. So anytime you want to go back to the screen, you just click on quick start so you can make some changes. Okay. Okay, let's see what's happening. Okay. So it's loading. Meanwhile, what we want to do now is we want to understand like how we connect to this MongoDB instance. So let's click on connect, and then let's click on Compass. So I don't know if you have MongoDB Compass installed, but I suggest you install it so that you can connect. Okay, so let's click. I have MongoDB Compass installed. And then get this one. This is the important part. So get this URL, copy it, and now use the password that you originally had, and then place it here. Okay, now you have the MongoDB URL ready. So copy that, and now you can use that for connecting to Mongo. So if I open MongoDB Compass, I can now connect to this MongoDB instance. Okay. Okay. Meanwhile, for the render service, we also want to use the same URL so that you can connect your render service to that MongoDB instance. So the thing is, in my restaurant web service that I created, I already have, I'm using environment variables to access data. So in my app.js, in my db-config, I'm using process.env.mongodb URI for the MongoDB URI. And then process.env.db name. So I suggest you use process.env. So if you don't have it set up for your GitHub repository or for your project, I suggest you add it. It's very helpful, and then you can use environment variables. So what I need to do now is I want to declare the value for this one. So in the render web service, I will click on environment, and I will add the environment variable. So MongoDB URI, and then I'll paste the value that I got from MongoDB Atlas with the password. And then I'll add another one for the DB name. So remember, it's DB name. Then the value is, let's try showcase. Okay. Okay, so I will save the changes. Okay, now let's see. Go back to the restaurant web service. And now it will redeploy based on the changes that you made. I made the changes to the environment variables. Let's see what's happening. Just click on deploy. It's going to try to redeploy the application. This time, it's trying to connect. Since I specified the MongoDB URI and the DB name, it's going to try to connect to that MongoDB instance. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm going to going back to the MongoDB service, and I want to, since I also want to access this MongoDB from my local machine, I will want to set it up also to connect to my local machine from my local machine. So I click on network access, and then only these are allowed to connect to this MongoDB, which is render. So what I want to do is I want to add my current IP address. So if I add my current IP address, let's see. I will now see it includes my current IP address. There, it's active. Okay. So just refreshed it. Yeah, so it's there. And now let's go back to the render. Let's see. Oh, okay. It's restarted because I think I made changes to MongoDB. Meanwhile, let's see if I can connect to this MongoDB instance from my MongoDB Compass. So I'll try to create a new connection based also on the MongoDB URL that I had earlier. So I'll connect. Let's see if I can connect. Connecting now. There. So I'm now able to access the MongoDB instance from my local machine. So if you notice, the service is live. Render was able to load, and then it created the showcase database. Okay. And now it has the restaurants and the reviews model, which I created in my application. Now, the next step that I can do is I can add post. I can use Postman to actually access the services here. Okay, so let's try it. So to access this web service now, what you want to do is you want to get this URL. Okay, this is the URL that for this web service. So let's copy it to the clipboard. And then I have a get endpoint for getting all the restaurants. Let's try it. So, and then restaurant. Let's see what will happen. So it will return to me the list of the restaurants, which is currently empty. So I'm going to try to create a new restaurant using the web service for creating restaurant. So I'm going to Postman to create that restaurant. Okay, so let's going to go to create restaurant. Just make sure that you have the correct URL here. Okay, and then I have a restaurant post endpoint where I can create the restaurant with a given name and address. So I have Kerwin's Donuts in Manila City. Let's try this. So if I send this, let's see what happens. Restaurant saved. Let's view now. Let's try to render this restaurant again. And now I can see the restaurant that I created. So with this web service, you can now actually use your front-end application, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You can call this endpoint to create your data, to read your data, and to delete, update, whatever database services that you need. Okay, so that's it for enabling using render to deploy your web service using MongoDB Atlas. This is all free account. You don't need to even register your credit card. There's no charge at all. So I suggest you can try it out, and you can play around with it. And if you have any questions, you can contact me. Just let me know. Send me a comment or send me a question directly, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone. And hope you have fun deploying your application. Okay. See you around. Thank you again. Bye-bye.